Hello, I'm making this video for my own reference and for my son's reference in the future, but during this COVID quarantine, I figured I would share some ideas that worked for my new reader. So we take a child-led unschooling and gameschooling approach to our homeschool, and it started when he was a toddler when I made him this book. So I made this for him when he turned 2. And I just didn't like the alphabet books that we had. For example, they would have like gorilla and giraffe, so 2 different G sounds, or they would have objects in there like an armadillo, which he wasn't familiar with and didn't care to know about. So here, I have a bunch of people that he knows well and objects that he was excited about. And so I personalized this and made it on Shutterfly. It just cost us $20. This is our 3rd one because he tattered the first 2. He took them everywhere. We read them all the time. Within 2 weeks, he had the letters and their sounds down because when I would read this, I would read it football, fire truck, because really he doesn't need to know the names of the letters first. The sounds of the letters, they're more applicable. So this was a really fun book for him, and I've since made one for my other kiddo. And I just wanted to share this. So when he was 3, this was the first time that I knew that what I was doing was working. So we were riding our bikes in our old neighborhood, and he stopped at a stop sign, looked up, and read it backwards, and then just kept on riding his bike. So and from there, I was like, okay, cool. He's getting the concept of reading, but I'm not going to push it because I want him to like reading. So he is now 6, and he just recently started really taking interest in it. So this is the next thing I wanted to talk about. This is Jot It Down. So this is a Brave Writer curriculum for pre-readers and writers. So their fairy tale project is what they're best known for. So basically the concept is you are your child's transcriptionist because their written language is not at the same level as their spoken language. They are much more fluent in speaking than they are in writing. So we can't really expect all that much of them yet. And you can increasingly expect more as you work on this. But when you first start writing, I just wanted to share this concept. So I used the fairy tale project concept when I did this project with my son. So basically you read several versions of these fairy tales. You can watch the video renditions, and then you ask your child to tell you the story, and you jot down their words. They can put it together with a photo that they made of the story, and then we laminated this because we've read this over and over and over and over again. But this was my son's story of when my husband took him to Monster Slam last summer. So that was the first time that he realized, that his words actually meant something on paper. It was very exciting for him. Okay, so I also wanted to say, so we read without any pressure of, pushing him into it. That I think has really made all the difference with him. He's one of those that if you push him, he's just going to push back. So, but he absolutely loves writing and reading. So I love Julie Bogart. I'm going to put some links in the description below that will point you in her direction. She's amazing. And Poetry Tea Time is another concept that we absolutely love. So we set up, some tea, or it can even be like lemonade or whatever, and some snacks on the table, and we bring out some books, and we just sit and sip and read. And we have been doing a whole lot more reading with my busy kids than we ever really accomplished before because of this concept. So that was a Julie Bogart original, and I'm so thankful for her. And this is another game that we've really liked in the car. Is I will say, like, I spy an A, and we'll count the A's, or we'll start with A and work our way through the alphabet trying to find all the letters on signs or wherever are in cars. My son really likes that game as well. So this here is from the curriculum Handwriting Without Tears, but I wanted to show you this because it is replicable, is that the word? You can replicate this at home. So once your kiddos are showing signs of being ready to write, you can have them finger trace letters in sand, you know, or what my son liked to do was, you know, writing on my hand, on the palm of my hand, writing a letter, and then I would have to guess it, and we would do it back and forth. That was a fun one for him. But these blocks with Handwriting Without Tears, they say that all letters, you know, are composed of a long line, short line, big curve, small curves. So those are the strokes with writing that we want to focus on. So these are the little boards that come with Handwriting Without Tears, and I just wanted to show why they use small pieces of chalk. It's because you actually have to hold it correctly when you use a small piece of chalk. So the whole idea with Handwriting Without Tears is you start where the smiley face is, and you would write the letter. You get the concept. I'm trying to do this one-handed, but you write the letter, and then you have a small piece of sponge and you erase it. So you're using it multiple times over, and we had a lot of fun with that as well. But there are experts out there that say that children they don't have the the fine motor skills to actually hold a pencil correctly until, it's about 6 to 8 years old. So I did not push writing on him whatsoever, but he definitely ran with it once that happened. And here are some other little books that I made for him. I just laminated them. I wrote them, I did not laminate them. I put them in page protectors. So they are white clean. So alphabet and number, and I got these for free off the internet. And then this was another project that really sparked his interest in writing. This was his nonsense book. So he was so full of nonsense that I told him, oh gosh, I thought I grabbed one that didn't have any potty words. Yeah, right. Those with 6-year-old boys probably are cracking up right now because that is just my life. So he had all this nonsense, and I'm like, you know what? Why don't you write this down? Then, I can read it to you, because remember back to this, he wanted me to read his words back to him. So he loved this idea, and we ran with it. And he has his own little nonsense book over there. It's several pages because he loved this idea. And at first, he told me what he wanted to write, and I would write it down, and then he would copy it. So it was copy work, if you're familiar with Charlotte Mason or Julie Bogart. He ran with it. He loved it. It's a really goofy concept, but he absolutely loved this, and he still loves writing all on his own every single day, random stuff. Here is another fun game that I just made up. So I got like 6 of these blocks, I think, at the dollar section in Target. So I put consonants on some and vowels in another color on some. So this is something that he would do all the time while I was cooking dinner. He would throw these down the hallway, run to go see what they landed on, and then he would make a sandwich of consonant, vowel, consonant, and he would sound it out and tell me if it was a word or not, or we would decide together if it was a word or not. So that was a really fun game for him. Now this Mickey game, my little one ran off with the little cylinder that is the bottom of Mickey, but you see it's got a little slot. So there are green-backed little tiles that are, for beginner readers, and then there are orange ones that have just a little more difficult words on them. So the concept is you put them all face down, shuffle them, deal them out between 2 players, and then you try to find, so you have to read them and sound them out. Well, that's the same thing. You try to find matches. You try to find words that rhyme. So, and this is a wild, so if I, just had these 2 left, or I didn't have, see, I don't have a match for clock, but hey, I know clock and sock rhyme. So I have a match, and I put them in Mickey's backpack and move on. He loves this game, and I got it from Scholastic for $10, I believe. So I've tried to show things in the order that I used them as his interest progressed and his readiness, his reading readiness progressed. This book was recommended in a game school group. That is a real thing. There are groups on Facebook. She has a website as well. I believe it's just gameschool.com. But if you look it up, it's one word. But this, the author of this book was not the person who facilitates those groups, but this book was recommended to me on those groups. So I highly recommend this book. There have been so many ideas that we've pulled from, and my son doesn't even realize that he's learning. He literally just loves playing games. So, and it's just, ways to be silly and, take the stress out of learning a new thing that can be very difficult, like reading. So basically, when I say, we are a child-led unschooling and game schooling family, I just wanted to throw this out there. This is how I do that. So I am constantly coming up with ideas, or he is, and I keep a notepad in my phone of ideas that that we can run with. And then we don't really have a schedule, but each night I sit down and I think about, okay, we've got, a couple things going tomorrow, but we can, we might have time for this and this. So I'm going to put this down in my phone. And if we have time to spare, enthusiasm to spare, then we'll jump on it. And it's really all about making it fun, because I want learning to be a lifelong, fun, and exciting thing for him. I don't want him to dread any of it. And also his questions. There are so many questions. So if we don't have time to jump into answering one of his awesome questions, I jot it down in that notepad and we come back around to it. So the first day that he actually read a book, I asked if he wanted to read a page on Hop on Pop. And he read the page easily and was so excited and proud of himself that he just kept going, and he ended up finishing it. So, but then he didn't show any interest and was actually pushing back when I asked him the next day. And it was a couple weeks before he was interested again, and I just didn't push it. And now he is reading to me regularly and writing every single day on his own, sounding words out by himself. We're having a lot of fun with this. So I've had some friends that were curious how this goes, since we don't really use curriculum. I have curriculum around, but we don't really follow any yet. So this was for them and for my son down the road. And yeah, I don't, if you have any questions, I can see if I have any answers for you. But this is what worked for him.